Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everyone doing? Oh my gosh, we are here for another amazing day of Life by Design, another session. I am super excited. We have someone special here for you today. So I'm going to give it a couple of just a few minutes. What is going on with my hair this morning? I promise I combed it. I promise I combed it, but we're just gonna give it a couple of minutes and get everybody in the room. Let's go ahead and get in the comment section. Let's get in the comment section. Tell me where you are chiming in from because we want to know. Y'all know this is community and we build community like it is none other. Do you hear me? So get in the comment section. Get in the comment section. Tell us who you are. Tell us where you're from. We want to say hello to you. And, before we even get started, if you're here and you haven't invited a friend to join us, shame on you. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do you like that. But I need you to invite a friend. I need you to go ahead and invite a friend. So go ahead and get in the comment section. We're going to get started here shortly. We're going to get started here shortly. Good morning. Good morning. DST Diva Travel and Vacation DR8968. All right, all right. Good morning, good morning. And you are right down the street in DeSoto. Well, hello there, neighbor. Hello there, neighbor. Oh, hey, is it Sherelle or Cheryl? Sherelle or Cheryl? I want to make sure I get it right. Y'all know how I feel about calling people the wrong names. Okay. I don't, I Cheryl. Okay. Cheryl. Cheryl. Okay, I like it. I like it. It okay. I like it. I like it. I like it. I just wanted to make sure it's good. Hey, Glow Mint Studio. Hey, from Ghana. Okay, we got Ghana in the house. Y'all are not ready. Y'all, we got Ghana in the house. Good morning. It's probably good evening for you, right? I think it may be good evening for you. Y'all, if you have not jumped in the comment section and said good morning, go ahead and say good morning to us and tell us where you are tuning in from. We have a very exciting morning this morning. We have an exciting event today. I'm just excited about it. I'm excited about who's in the building. I cannot wait. Okay, it's good evening. Very good. It's good evening. It's good evening for Glow Mint. I love it. Okay, good morning from New Jersey. Let's go, y'all. We are all over the place this morning, and I love it from Ghana to New Jersey to DeSoto, Texas. I am loving it and so glad that you are here. So, good morning, Casey Sinclair. Good morning, good morning, good morning. And thank you for joining us this morning. I'm super excited that you guys are here and I cannot wait to just jump in. I am waiting for my I am waiting for my I am waiting for my for my run of show. I'm sorry, y'all. And just, yeah. Life, and I don't know, and it's my fault because I have no idea what I did with it. It is somewhere. But hey, Tasha, good morning, sugar. Thank you for being here this morning. Tell us where you're from. I know where you are, but tell everybody else because right now we're repping Ghana this morning. We are repping New Jersey this morning. Okay, here we got we're repping Houston this morning. We're all over the place this morning, baby. I love it. Let us know where you are coming in from. Let us know where you are coming in from because that's important. We want to know. We want to know. And is it Zora Seda? I want to make sure I say things correctly. This is Gladian. I got this link to join you for the podcast. Very good. Very good, very good, very good. So glad that you are here. DFW, come on, Tip Thunder. I love it. I love it. Thank you for being here this morning. I'm excited, y'all. I am so very excited. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. I'm going to, before I get in before I, stall anymore, I'm just gonna go ahead and get into it. We listen, and I really need it because I really need to so I can read this bio of this beautiful person that we are bringing in. I can't just not I can't wing that. I can't wing this beautifulness that I'm bringing to the stage because I need to be able to tell all the goodies, honey. Because when I tell you that she is bringing the heat today, when I tell you that she is bringing something absolutely amazing, that this is what she does, this is who she is, this is how she shows up and serves. This is how she shows up and serves. So I'm going to go ahead and get into it real quick, and then we're gonna bring her on up stage. Okay. So Miss Charlie Pleasant is in the room, y'all, and Charlie is a certified internal family systems therapist and corporate wellness consultant. She partners alongside high performing leaders to help them strike the best balance between work, life, and wellness. Charlie has partnered with organizations such as Red Hat Inc., a subsidiary of IBM, North Alabama chapter of the Society for Human Resource Management, and Virginia Anti-Violence Project. She has been regularly featured on WTVR CBS 6, providing expertise in the area of emotional health and wellness for Central Virginia residents. Because she repping from Virginia this morning, y'all. Charlie also serves as a board member for Henrico County Area Mental Health and Disability Service Board, which advocates for persons living and thriving with mental health challenges. Charlie's clinical and consulting focus includes conflict, communication, and personal development, specifically addressing self betrayal and boundaries. Now, y'all know this is what it's all about. Life by Design is all about exactly what Miss Charlie is bringing to the stage, and I gotta welcome. Let me get over here to my little sounds and all the things because we're gonna bring her to the stage, and I gotta go ahead and get some applause going and stuff. Let me see if I can look. Let me see if I can make it work. Good morning, good morning, good morning, and thank you so very much for
Good
coming.
morning.
I am excited to have you here. I know we have a good time on prayer on the patio, but this is the time that we are going to really talk about, the boundaries and the self betrayal and the things that you do. This because this is what you do on a daily. This
Yes.
is you hear the people thinking that they aren't good enough.
Yep.
You hear the people thinking that I've made mistakes when really it was those lessons learned. You hear this often, and you work with people to heal this.
Yes. Yes.
So, Charlie, just like and we're not gonna get in the interview style. I just want to ask a few questions, but then I want you to just give us some work.
Okay. I got
Give
work.
us give us some work because this is what this is about, right? We really want to make some changes in life by design. We want to walk away from life by design and feel like, wait a minute, I did I just do that? She just told me I don't have to do that anymore. I okay, I can say I can create some boundaries and live by them. So first things first, let me say thank you again.
You are welcome.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for being here. And secondly, let's just kind of go into cause just tell me how you kind of got in this space and why you stay in this space because I know you deal with a lot.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for having me, Tara. I have been a fan and a follower of the Black Women Who Loves Outdoor Living Spaces probably since its inception during COVID. And I used to have a paper on my board here that I wrote down that one day I knew I was going to work with you. And I just needed a moment to figure out exactly what that was going to look like. So here we are, probably about 5 or 6 years removed from when I actually wrote that note that I'm going to be in community with this person. So I'm really happy to be here. Um, but for those who might not know me, and I'm sure that there's many that on the call that might not, first and foremost, before I even get started, I want to invite you to go ahead and grab something to write with, a writing utensil, paper, get prepared because we have work to do today. And I hope that I'm able to get to every piece of what I'm offering today with you all when we're talking about resetting self. And so, as you're gathering some things, I'll just tell you a little bit about me. My name is Sharnessa Pleasant, but I go by Charlie. That's the name my great grandmother called me. And so, I am a licensed clinical social worker here in the Central Virginia area. And to your point, Terry, yes, I have been doing this for quite some time. I know, well over 12 years into doing this type of work, right? Um, I feel like the best place for me to start is just to tell you a little bit about my story and how I got here. So, if there's any curiosity of how I got here, I'm going to start from the beginning of when it all started to make sense for me and started to click for me. So, this was back in 2002. So, I had just wrapped up graduating from Virginia Commonwealth University in 2001. In 2002, I left my hometown of Richmond, Virginia, and moved to Michigan. And so, at that time, after graduation, I didn't really understand. I didn't have a deep understanding of why I needed to leave, but it was really clear to me that if I stay in Richmond, I'm going to die. It's either going to be really fast or it's going to be really slow by circumstances. But I was very clear that I needed a shift. And so I was in the process of that time of applying to graduate programs. And so there was one small liberal arts program that I located in Michigan that felt really right for me. And so this was back when, and I hope I'm in good company here, when we used to submit college applications on paper. Like you actually had to type it in, mail it, and you got to wait on a response. That was my time period, right? And so I submitted my application. I filled out the application, dropped it in the mailbox. And I can't tell you, y'all, when they say when you have a sense of knowing, knowing is when you don't question and you don't need anybody to validate. I knew I had gotten accepted to this program, so much so that after I dropped that in the mailbox, I went home and started packing. I hadn't heard anything from this university yet, had not heard anything, and it would be weeks before I would hear from them. And so a few weeks later, I had gotten a call from the dean of the program that I was in saying that we're interested in interviewing you for the 2002 cohort of this particular program. And the turnaround had to be quick. So I grabbed my uncle, I grabbed my brother, and y'all, we did a 24-hour round trip from Richmond to Michigan, back to Richmond again. And let me tell you, I did not even have a hotel room. I changed into my interview clothes in a bathroom at Bob's Big Boys on Washtenaw Avenue in Michigan, in Ypsilanti, Michigan. I was in a restaurant changing and getting ready because the university was right up the street. So got myself together, got prepared, did me a little quick bath as much as you can when you're just on the road and having to fresh up, but y'all know what it is. Um, got to my interview, nailed that interview, and by the time I left Ypsilanti, Michigan, I had already secured the funding that I needed to pay for this degree. I already had my assistantship in place for this degree. And so I returned back to Richmond, came back home, and I started packing and came back to Michigan. And I was a part of the 2002 cohort of my graduate program. And so I'm thinking, y'all, that I have 2 to 3 years to do this graduate program. And God had other plans. And so those other plans that when I thought I was going to only be there for 2 to 3 years turned into 11-year stay of living in Michigan. I mean, deep in the community there, building my network there from scratch. And y'all, I moved to Michigan not knowing anybody. I don't have family there. All of my family's down south. We're here. And so it turned into this 11-year stay that completely changed the trajectory of my life. But before that happened, I crashed and burned. That's how I got here. I crashed and burned. And so let me explain a little bit about what was happening then. So 2009 was a really, really chaotic year in my life where I had been running from everything that I left here in Virginia, and it finally caught up with me. You know that old saying of like, wherever you go, there you are. Like you can't run from you. That you just can't do that. You can't run from you. And I did. I tried and was very unsuccessful. And so it caught up with me. And when it did, I couldn't ignore it anymore. So this was also the year that I got really serious about therapy. And so I had been out in undergrad, and after I graduated from VCU, I had been in and out of therapy, attempting to work on some things. Once I experienced a little bit of relief, I would abandon the program. And then when I found myself back in crisis again, I'll come right back to therapy. And so what I realized is that at that time, because I wasn't really ready to do the work, I was more so seeking relief than learning how to heal and be with the things that I've experienced, right? So, but in 2009, I had to really get serious to face what I was dealing with in a significant way. So I got set down. I got set down in one of the most inconvenient ways. And I will be honest, it's still not a way that I'm terribly comfortable with talking with, but trust me, it changed my life. It changed my life. So when I got set down, I all I can do was face myself. Like I had no access to any of my vices. I couldn't bypass it. I couldn't lean into distractions to try to get my mind off of it. Nothing was working. And I was at the beginning, what I realized, well, on the back end, what I realized is that I was at the beginning of my own reset, but I just didn't know that that's what it was at that time. And so for 2 years, I had shut down everything completely to focus on me. And so that included me doing not only individual therapy work, but therapy work. I'm in a group with 12 other Black women doing therapists with this incredible Black woman that was my therapist at the time, who my God, she helped me get to a place in my life that I never thought that I could arrive at. So I'm taking 2 years and I'm with this group of people and doing my individual work. And y'all, I went to work. And for the first time in my life, I was invited to sit with the entire story of how I got to this place and to sit with every part of myself that was impacted along the way. That and what became abundantly clear to me was that I needed to be with the parts that were impacted on my journey. And that was the true real set, or the true reset, is that I had to be and learn how to be with myself and all of my pieces. So a lot of times when people think about, just the word resetting, it's kind of approached from the position that if you do X and if you add X and you add Y, then you'll get Z, right? And that's going to be a result. We try to do a plug and play. We try to formalize it. In capitalist culture, assures that healing focuses on being from a place of productivity and consumerism. And don't get me wrong, consumerism and productivity have its place, but not at the beginning. So the way that the system in the world sets things up is that if you produce and you do more and you consume, then you'll feel better. Versus how I've come to understand healing and being with, even in my own life, is that I have to feel better first, before, so then I can understand what I'm producing and what I'm consuming, because it might not be the thing that I actually need. So that's when I get the clarity that I need, right? And so I want to invite you all just to consider, everybody that's here, that's watching, that's tuning in to Life by Design, is that I want you to consider, or just play with the question of, what if resetting is not about what you can produce or consume? What if it isn't even about self-improvement? What if it's all about returning? What if resetting is about returning? So the when I talked to you about me running away from all the stuff in Virginia, so a part of that running was pushing aside the things, the really difficult things that I didn't at the time have tools to deal with. Coming home to myself meant that I was going to see every last one of those things on the road on my way back to me. So I pushed it away. And what I realized, and what I used to always say and always journal during that time, is that, on paper, I'm successful in these markers and these milestones, but something feels bankrupt. Like, so I feel like I'm climbing like a successful ladder of failure. And what I understood was, and what you might have heard or hear people say, is that you can't outrun trauma, you can't out succeed it, You can't out sex it. You can't out smoke it. You can't out drug it. You can't out spend it. You can't do that. It just doesn't happen. So my collection of things was achievements. I was collecting achievements, but I was bankrupt. And so- Okay, so I saw you wanted.
Listen, wait. Can we just stop and start unpacking a little bit of that, and then
Yeah.
I want to get in the work part because I want them to do this work. When
Hmm.
you're saying, because I put in it, what if what? Oh gosh, I'm sorry, y'all. I meant to say what if resetting is all about returning.
Hmm.
What are you running from?
Yeah.
Like at this point, like if you all that are watching, if you want to share, if you want to share, get in the comments. What are you running from? Like to me, like that's it, because if you're going to reset,
Hmm.
you got to return. You got to return to what you're running from.
Uh-huh.
Right?
Uh-huh.
Because you can't, and just that part, you can't outdrink it.
Mm-mm.
You can't outsex it. You can't outsmoke it. You
No.
just cannot outrun it.
Nope. You can't out overachieve it. You can get every promotion in the world. And what's dangerous about achievements, and that's what I came to realize, Tara. What's so dangerous about achievements is that it's so socially acceptable that we don't see it as a product of something else. So nobody's going to ever come to me and say, "Oh my God, Charlie, you are really messed up because you're achieving X, Y, and Z." Now they might say that if I'm using drugs, right? Or promiscuous sexually or
Yeah.
whatever. But when it comes to achievement, it flies under the radar a little different. And I want to emphasize that because that is something very specific to Black women. Like if I know that y'all have
Say
seen that
it.
meme that says when a Black woman gets bored, she goes back to get a degree or she goes back to do something else. And
Goes
so
back to school.
she goes back to school,
Something.
right? She'll do something. So nobody's going to argue against your achievements. But what you're not understanding is your achievements is a protector that's covering up for something else. And that's what I recognized for myself is that it didn't matter how many degrees I had. And trust me, my degrees have served me well in my life, but it wasn't what I needed truly. And I had to run up against a wall. I had to have God put me into a place for 11 years to finally figure that out, and not by myself. I had a lot of help and support along the way. So I'm again to my question. I want to invite you all to consider what if this is all about returning, returning back to the parts that carry the stories about what happened to us along the way. And so, as a therapist in the IFS community, we understand as therapists, clinicians, practitioners that we as human beings are not made up of one single mind. IFS talks about the multiplicity of mind. And I won't have an opportunity to get too much into that, but really what that means is that we are this one physical entity, but we have a whole world within in a system that has parts. And they're in conversation, in communication, they're talking up to each other, they're controlling what's going on in the outside environment based on all of that's happening out here. So we have parts. And so before I go there, let me back.
Mm-hmm.
I want to normalize parts in a way that you understand that you're probably already speaking from a parts perspective without recognizing it. So let's say we're here at the weekend and some friends wanted to get up and get together and go out to happy hour and just maybe go dancing and have dinner or whatever. And you might say, oh my God, a part of me just really needs this right now. I need to give a max of the week. And work was stressful, blah, 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 blah. And then you might all of a sudden, as you're considering it, hear another part that's saying, but didn't you say you was tired?
Um,
So why are we going out? I got this part that feels really tired. And then you might turn to another place and be like, or hear another part that says, but if you don't show up, then they might not like you. Whether that's true or not is irrelevant, right? This is just the conversation that's happening in our system. This is what I mean by
in our head.
multiplicity. It's here. It's here. It's in our heads. It's in our bodies. It's all encompassing throughout our entire being. Our parts live everywhere within us, and they make themselves available depending upon what portal is available to them,
Mhm.
right? So, but we already talk about parts. You just don't know it to be IFS work and parts work. So I just want to share with you that this is really about not only being in communication with your parts, but understanding that the more that you begin to peel back those parts, you'll recognize that you have a big capital letter S, which is yourself, which is
Mm-hmm.
your self energy, which is your core being. It's what we came into this world with. And it is the part of ourselves that is so untouched and not impacted by what we've experienced.
Okay.
And we access that self by going towards the parts that felt like they needed to jump in to protect it.
Wow.
So, getting into self energy isn't something that you're pulling from the outside into your world. Getting to yourself or accessing your self energy is understanding that it's here, but it's covered. So, this is self, these are your parts. And I
Okay.
want you to see my fingers because this is the multiplicity of parts that we have, right?
Right. Right.
So, that's the goal of the work of IFS, and that's the goal that I'm hoping to do with everyone that's in the room today. This,
Mm-hmm.
which is why I asked you to grab pen and paper because we're going to go to work.
Let's
So,
go to work.
in saying that, resetting self isn't about becoming something or someone different. It's not about a new year, new me. It's not about trying on something new. Resetting from an IFS lens is about being with all the parts that we have worked so hard to hide. The world teaches us, approves and validates when we override ourselves. And Black women, this is for us. As I work with a lot of people, but I'm specific in my therapy work, I specifically serve Black women for this reason. Because from the onset and very early on, we get messages that shifts us personality wise to something more transactional and what
Mm-hmm.
we can produce and bring in the world, and takes us away from relational and being with ourselves. We are never given space to be here. What we have always been given space consistently and throughout history is to provide labor. But labor is not your way to being with and healing. Relationship with yourself, connection with yourself is how we get there. So I'm not coming to you all with a 10-point plan that you might see on social media. There's nothing wrong with that. I believe that memes and different things that are out there are psychoeducational tools that can point us in a direction. But the work requires you to reconnect.
Mm-hmm.
Full stop. It requires you to reconnect, full stop. So IFS work teaches us to befriend ourselves, and that's the real reset. The real reset isn't about efforting harder. It is not about adding more to your plate. It's not about taking on more than you have capacity for. It is not about any of those things. The reset is about becoming connected. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to become connected, or I'm going to introduce you to
Or I'm
some
going
ways that you
to.
can become connected, even in this session or even outside of this session and outside of this session. So I know we have a few people in the chat, and Tara, I'm not sure if you're on multiple platforms, but I'm hoping everybody can hear me. I'm going to start with the opening exercise. So grab your pen and paper.
Get your pen and paper out.
Let's go to work. So when growing up, here's my question to you all, and feel free to drop it in the chat if you're on the stream yard. Is that what it's called? The stream yard
Yes.
platform?
StreamYard.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Feel free to drop it in the chat because I can see that and I would love to hear from you. And also I want to share with you all of this is an invitation. None of this is mandatory, but I'm assuming if you showed up here, get the
Mm.
most for your time. That's more than any money you can spend. You can make money, you can't make no more time. So get your time's worth here. So we're going to start with this question. When growing up, what messages did you receive about emotions or expressing your emotions? How were your emotions met by the adults around you?
And if you don't mind sharing, I know this is work, y'all. This is work. This is what life by design is. We've got to get to the core of the things. If you don't mind sharing, get in the comments. However, like she said, this is not mandatory. Um, but if you're here, get the work done. Now, if you want to post in the comment section, we welcome that. We This
Mhm.
is a safe space. If not, it is okay. Do the work at
Absolutely
home.
okay.
You can
Yeah.
do the work at home. That's why you have the workbook at home. You can do the work at home. If you have the questions, then you can do this at home in the mirror by yourself,
Yeah.
right? So
Yep.
you see how we're, rolling through and, dealing with all the things. But this is this, if you want to share it in the comment section, go right ahead and do just that.
Yeah. I've learned to be seen and not heard. Yeah. Yeah. Children hear that all the time. Children are to be seen and not heard. They're to be paraded around, but they're not to have an opinion or a feeling about anything, right?
Yeah, not loud, not
Not loud.
just
Mm-mm.
quiet.
Never disrespectful.
Never.
Never having
Even
opinions.
in having an opinion or sharing your opinion was seen as being disrespectful. So a lot of times,
Disrespectful.
especially for us, for black women, for black children, like we
Hmm.
had to, you go, you sit down, whatever they say is this, you don't challenge anything.
Hmm.
But I've learned that it created, for me, it created self-esteem issues
Yeah.
for me,
Yeah.
because I was a talker, but that's what I do. Look
Yeah.
at me.
Yeah.
I'm talking. I'm talking on a platform, but
Hmm.
every 6 weeks or every 9 weeks, when I got my grade report back, it was, she talks too much. She
Yep.
talks too much. She wants, like, every single time. And at one point in my life, I thought, oh my goodness, you just talk too much. Just shut up. Don't say anything. That's like, that was trauma that I was dealing with.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
How do I get the workbook? Yes, thank you so much, Glomet. We have it. It is pinned in the chat. But we can, very good,
Yeah.
Rhonda.
She said
Thank
she
you so
got
much.
it. Yeah.
Very good, very good, very good. I'm glad you have that workbook, because this workbook is everything.
All right.
But go
And
ahead.
so we're asking that one question, what messages did you receive about expressing your emotions? And then the second question to me or to you all that I'm posing is that what messages did you receive about rest?
And let me also say, if you want to come and actually join us on stage to have that conversation, like to talk with us, you can do that. This is the work. So don't feel uncomfortable or anything like this. We will send you, if you want to do that, we'll send you the link, and you can come and join us on stage and talk. You can talk like this, you can do the
We're
work.
in conversation
We're in
together.
conversation together.
Yeah, we're in conversation together. So if you feel compelled to share, we open the space for that. We create this space of safety that whatever shared here stays here.
This is what this is. This is the work.
And so my last question is in the same thing. What message did you receive about taking care of yourself? As a child, I was given permission to cry and let it out, but don't stay in that space for too long. Ah, okay. So some parts were afforded a little bit of space, but also being met with the message of maybe some caregivers that were saying, but don't you stay there too long. Yeah. One of the messages that I received when it came to expressing my emotions is, and I'm sure it feels like the black community euphemism is, stop crying before I give you something to cry for or something to cry about. And my tears might have been really valid around something, but no adult slowed down enough to check in and see what was happening
Yeah.
because it might have been an inconvenience for them, for the child to be having some type of emotional response to anything. And when I'm working with my clients in individual therapy, that's one thing that I talk to them about, especially when they have children that they're raising, is that depending upon where their kids are, well, all the time where their kids are, I'm always telling my clients or always inviting them to consider if your client is getting close to or your child's getting close to an age when they're becoming an adult, think about the things that you say now that will keep you in relationship with those kids when they get older, because once they have autonomy and agency, they might not fool with you.
Mhm.
And that's been a big conversation that's been happening around social media as well too is around just going no contact with parents, and that's a whole different thing. I have some big thoughts about that, and I have some big thoughts about the way that conversation is being discussed. But if I'm in a household where I'm always being invalidated, or I'm being told that I need to stuff it all in, then I become an adult that stuffs it all in. Make sense here?
Yep.
Yeah. I become the adult that stuffs those things in. So when we're talking about resetting ourselves or resetting back to self, which is in my mind how I play with that connection of words, is going back to our default setting. And our default setting really is wholeness and acceptance and integration of all of our parts, because that makes all of who we are.
Yeah.
So when we talk about resetting self, we have to look at the messages that we receive that has kept us disconnected in the first place, or aided to our disconnection from ourselves in the first place. So what I learned is that my emotional, and I was very much like you, Tara. I got talking all the time, all the time. I couldn't shut up. I could not shut up. So much so that my daddy came into class and stood back there and didn't say nothing to me. And he was like, "You talked the whole time. You didn't even know I was standing back there." And I was just like, "Well, this, I don't know what to do,"
What I do?
because I had things that I wanted to say, and I was a really jovial kid, but along the way, a lot of that got folded. That got folded in, and so what became more valuable in my family unit, and this might be the story of a lot of people, is that what became more valuable was what I could produce.
Mhm.
Can you get good grades? Can you get on honor roll? Can you graduate on time? Can you not get pregnant before you graduate? Because I heard a lot of that too. It was all of these things of what I could do, but no validation of who I was
Mhm.
and my
Mhm.
being. That's the first place of where I believe we experience a lot of our disconnection from ourselves. And I'm just going
So
to look at the check really quickly. I see Glowman Studio say, "Growing up, I was taught to be strong and to keep going." I know that's right. Emotions stayed inside. Building something has forced me to unlearn that. You can't lead well while carrying everything silently. You're absolutely right.
mhm.
And so when we're not having that type of interruption in our lives, then we will go through life feeling really frustrated about, I'm doing all of the A, B to get C, but something else isn't working. And what's happening is that a lot of our emotional state isn't being attuned to. The research is very
Yeah.
clear. Children only literally need around 10% of attunement from their parents in order to feel safe and connected. That's not a lot.
It's
When we're
not.
talking about the whole being, attunement is the name of the game when we're growing up, because every kid doesn't need the same thing. So are you in tuned enough to find out what that other child, or what this child that, or the terror that talked too much, what she needs? She might need to go to debate. That's what she probably need, to go somewhere and mold this gift
Right. Right.
into something.
Yes.
But
Yes.
but
I
if you're
want.
but if you're
Yeah.
parenting and you're not attuned because you're pulled outside of the household, having to bring in money, and so this is not a place to blame parents for having to do this. This is
Mhm.
understanding systematic structures that broke up the Black community and Black households in a very intentional way.
Right.
So not so being underpaid, having to take on multiple jobs, having to take on third shift, having to do all of these things, being utterly exhausted is a systematic burden that impacted attunement to your family.
Yes.
It's not their fault, but we are responsible for having to go back and do the work of repairing the impact. It wasn't their fault, and you were impacted at the same time. Two things can be true at the same time.
And it is well.
And it
We
is.
know that two things are true at the same
Right.
time.
They're both true at the same time.
They're both true at the same time. Because how many, I just want to ask a quick question. If you can
Mhm.
just put like a one in the chat, if you were celebrated for what you did and not who you were. Like this is what we're talking about. Like if you were celebrated for what you did. I got A's in school, but it wasn't because I just love you because who you are. Like I like you said, I made the honor roll. I got on the dean's list. I got on
Mhm.
it, but my
Yeah.
name is Tara. You just
Yeah.
love me for that? Can you
Yeah.
just
I'm
love me
I'm
for
here.
that?
I'm here. I didn't even ask to be here, but I was great when I showed up,
Yeah.
you
Like
know?
if you
So what is
if,
it about that? Yeah.
and if you've experienced that or you feel like you experienced that, put a one in the chat. I'm just anxious, or not anxious, but I'd like to know, kind of where we are with that, and in seeing that question, because
Mhm.
that was important, I think. And I think for us in our um culture, that
Yeah.
we are that, and we just talked about that
Yeah.
we are always seen for the way we perform or what we did, but not who we are,
Yeah.
not for
And a lot of that being seen with, for some parents, I'm not going to say all, but I'm making generalizations here. If it doesn't apply, you can throw it to the side. But a lot of that being seen and being able to produce and to do was oftentimes shown off as the trophy, as look at what my kid can do, which was never about the child. It was about the parent. It was a reflection of the parent.
yeah.
But now understanding that your kids are not to be paraded. They're just little small people here trying to figure out this world. And achievements are great. Them doing great in school is great, but it's not the only thing that's important.
Mhm.
Ask me how much I remember from trigonometry.
How much do you remember from trigonometry?
None, none, nothing, nothing,
Absolutely nothing.
absolutely nothing.
I,
So
mm,
I know as youth, our job is to do school and all of those other things and develop and all of those other things. But in the grand scheme of things, they're not the most important thing. Raising children that are well integrated, both with their what we call the good and the bad parts. In IFS, there's no bad parts, and we can talk a little bit about that as well too. But because we like to put qualifiers on what's good and bad,
mhm.
it's about integrating all of that. That's
Oh,
what makes a whole person. Is that you got to the goal is never to move the mountain. The goal is to integrate the mountain in the landscape, because it's a part of your experience and you can't get rid of that. And so when I talked about myself running from Virginia, is that I was trying to move a mountain instead of recognizing I needed to integrate this mountain in my landscape, because it's a part of my story. It's a part of why I'm sitting here on Life by Design. Had I
mhm.
not had that experience, I might not be here to talk to you about this experience.
Listen, because an experience is important.
Yeah.
Like, and we're talking about the work. So we're talking about the work that you have to do to get through the experiences, because experiences can cause trauma, but
Hmm.
it doesn't mean that we did not get something from it.
That's
The
right.
problem, I think, now you have to correct me here, Charlie, that sometimes it becomes overwhelming and we just don't know how to pull the good from the bad, from the
Hmm.
trauma. Like there's something that we needed to learn from it. And it may not be good, but it might have been a lesson.
So how and you're right. It can be a lesson, or, and if I'm looking at it from an IFS perspective, what we might deem as bad behavior from children, I see as parts that are protecting.
Hmm.
So if you have been, let's say, all your life you're being told that the behavior and how you show up in a space is replicate of somebody else that might have harmed the adult that's giving that message. There's going to be, so, and I'll just say it, you're just like your daddy, or you're just like your mama, or you're just like so and so and so, blah 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 blah. And the child picks up, or the young kid picks up, or the teenager picks up, or the adolescent picks up that when my mom says this, or when my dad says that I'm just like somebody, a part of me hears that this is negative. And so now I have a protective that, or a protector, or a part in my system that wants to come up and protect and say, yeah, we're never going to do that. So let's do this.
Hmm.
And I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that you're not seen as you being just like your mom, or you being just like your dad. And so that, and again, that if I were to make that a little bit more personal, I've never heard that as a child, but given the experience that I had with a parent, and particularly my mother, who was absent for a great deal of my life, to look like somebody that's been absent
Mm-hmm.
and knowing what that person, the harm or the impact that that person caused in the lives of so many in our family, to look like that person, there were parts of me that wanted to do with everything about whatever was associated with my mom. So for my mother, she passed away in 2019.
Okay.
Addiction was her vice in this lifetime.
Okay.
And addiction is what eventually took her.
Okay.
And so I always share with my friends is that I wish my mom could have known the woman that I am today. I do believe that she sees that, but we're talking like early Charlie, like 20 Charlie's, 20-year-old, teenage. I was mad.
Okay.
I was angry because this whole big rupture had happened in my family and nobody talked about it.
Okay.
Nobody talked about what the impact of that was. So I had parts that came on board that was just like, you are never going to experience that hurt again. What I wish, and again, hindsight is 2020, is that I wish I had the opportunity to ask my mother one question.
Mm-hmm.
What happened to you? Not, I'm here to blame you about your addiction. I need to understand the part of you that felt like it needed to pick up drugs in order to cope.
So do you think that when we're dealing with things and we go and it's a drink or it's a smoke or I mean extra shopping, whatever you do, right? Hoarding, all the things, and there's a trauma response, that there's a trauma in there.
Mhm.
And I know it always goes to something, but I think like everybody on the call now should be asking that question: what happened to me?
Yeah. And what is this vice protecting? This bad thing that the world say is bad. I don't see that as bad at
Because
all.
it might not be bad, right?
It
It's
was just
just I'm
the best
coping.
way. It was the best way that this part knew how to handle what was going on based on the information that they had at the young age that they were. That's all. That's all that is. It's a part that came in to help. And so that's when I think about resetting, it's about going. When I said I have to, everything that I worked to hide on the way there is everything that I had to face on my way back. I had to go back and get the understanding about why did this part show up this way?
Okay.
Why did I have this part that felt like it needed to overachieve? Or why did I have this part that might have been sexually promiscuous? Or why did I have this part that might have X, Y, and Z? You fill in the blank for whatever that
Mm,
might be for you.
yeah.
And that's on the call today. Why did I have the part that did that? That's what the real reset is about, is getting into connection with those parts that we work so hard to hide. So I know that in our session today, and I'm not sure how much time that we have, I do want to hit on some of the things that we talked about or you mentioned in the title of this is rest. So why do we struggle to rest? Let's start there. This is where we're going to grab our pen and paper, y'all. And like I said, everything is an invitation. This is a highly experimental brief workshop that we're doing. If parts feel uncomfortable, you can step away. That's okay. You do whatever you need to do to take care of yourself. Because when we're doing inward work, that's probably some of the hardest work to
It
ever
is.
do. Why people don't do it.
It is.
So let's talk a little bit about why we struggle. Why do we struggle to gain rest? So this is pretty much the inner system, that keeps us running. Rest is what we need. Like it keeps everything going. But most of us really actually don't struggle with rest. I want to take that out, and I want to challenge that concept of struggling to rest,
Okay.
especially when it comes to us, especially when it comes to Black women. We don't struggle to rest. We struggle because parts are afraid to do so.
Mm.
Let's pull that back to the first person that I asked. What messages did you receive about rest? That it's lazy,
Mm.
idle hands are the devil's workshop, and whatever other euphemism you can add in there. Selfish. If you're sitting resting, you're selfish. The message that you could have received was, after having a hard week of school or whatever, on a Saturday morning, we know that that's the cleaning time, but why I gotta be up at 8 o'clock when I'm tired?
Man.
Why am I being pulled into this so so these are not verbal messages. This is actionable messages that we're receiving. It's that we don't even get to rest when we're tired. We got to go down, do something. And so for many of us, resting can feel risky. Let's talk about this on a macro level or a systemic level. We get those messages that Black people are lazy, that our value is in producing and in nothing else, and it's all transactional for us, and that we're applauded when we're able to interact with those transactional ways. So we're never valued from a standpoint of relational and being. We're valued from the standpoint of how much I can produce and what I can add to whatever that a lot of us at the end of the day don't even benefit from. I tell my clients all the time, don't mess around, go on that job and die, because your post will be up in about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Don't do that. So we get all of these outside of just in our family units, society wise, we get these messages around rest, or rest isn't for you. Rest is for everybody but you. I got to work twice as hard to get just where they are. That's
Mhm.
about not resting. So why do I have to portray myself? If I have to work twice as hard, wouldn't it suffice to say that I would need more rest?
Mm. Faye is in the comments and she said, I was taught that rest is laziness.
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
I have another question though, because while everybody didn't deal with that or wasn't told those things, like everybody, like somebody was saying, I saw Brandy was saying earlier, she said, I didn't experience it, but that was always heavy to hear others go through it.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't exactly experience it, it could also be heavy because you see other people going through it. And because, especially because in our culture, it was a part of you shouldn't be resting. You should
Mm-hmm.
be doing stuff. You got to get up at Saturday morning. And you know, I was the TikToks, the TikToks that show up, right? And it has like the and this is not a racial thing. It's really funny on TikTok, right? And it's the white kids going to the black kids' house and they're like up, sitting up straight, and you know, my mama coming in, you better get this cleaned up and all this stuff. Like it's automatic. It's so
Mm-hmm.
automatic that other people see it, but it's like ingrained in our heads. But they see it, of course, it's a joke now. It's funny. I think things are, kind of changing and we're learning to do the work
Mm-hmm.
to understand the importance of rest. But even if you're not told that you're being lazy, because we are around it or have
Mm-hmm.
seen it or have heard it, it's just as traumatic.
Yeah, it is. So
Wrong.
imagine, and I want to piggyback on what Brandy said as far as that not being her personal experience, but being a byproduct of an experience could be like, what would it be to be a partner or be partnered up with somebody who did receive that message that always felt like they needed to be on?
Yeah.
So while it might not be your experience particularly, friends that you have, partners that you have might have had that experience, and there now there's a disconnection that I can't stop. Like, why does this person never want to spend time with me? Why does this person feel like we got to be doing something every moment of the moment?
Hmm.
And so we might struggle to understand that they're actually responding to messages.
Yes.
They're responding to messages.
Rhonda said she retired at 58 and not 70.
I know that's right.
I,
I, hmm,
but let me find my applause because that
right.
is
That's it right there.
kudos to you. That's real. That's real deal.
It is. So, but for a lot of us, this is still really risky. Those beliefs didn't appear out of anywhere. They were shaped by history, they were shaped by family, they were shaped by systems and lived experiences. And then eventually, what we call culture can become or has the tendency to be, not all the time, but it can become a culmination of behaviors that didn't go checked. We call it culture. In the Black culture, we wake up every Saturday morning and we clean
Yep.
to music and specifically to oldies, right? We call that culture. We call it Black experience. And they're part of our culture. They're part of our experience, but they're also part of why we can't rest.
Mm-hmm.
So the more that we call it culture, the more we distance ourselves from being able to call it for what it is.
Yeah,
Everything ain't culture.
it's not.
Everything is not culture. It's a part of the culture, but that's not culture. That's typically trauma unchecked. And,
Come on,
and
trauma.
untreated trauma looks like this is what the culture does.
Wow. Okay, so we got to ask that question. Who is in here that has not checked their rest trauma?
Yeah.
It is like Faye says, now I rest whenever I need to, or I want to. She said, no is a full sentence, and it is. Now
Hmm.
that's a boundary.
Yes, ma'am.
Um, Glow Mint Studio says it's hard to rest because we've been conditioned to measure our worth by our output.
That's right.
This feels like falling behind when everything around you is moving. Unlearning that is real work.
It is
Now,
real work.
and I have to say, this is a total transparent moment for me. It is real work for me. I struggle to sleep. I struggle to rest. I struggle because I'm thinking, oh, I could be doing this, I could be doing that. I could be handling this right now. I don't I don't have to sleep when I can get this done. I'll just
Hmm.
take naps. I'll just take, a moment, and then I'm tired. I can't be my best self
Hmm.
because I didn't rest. You really have to unlearning, as
Hmm.
Glomet said,
Hmm.
unlearning that is real work.
It
That
is.
you have to remove the phones, remove, and sometimes even the TV, just
Hmm.
remove everything in order to rest.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because as long as I have my phone next to me, I can work. I can do work
Right.
on my phone. I can do work on my computer. But what I have done, so let me say this because I'm proud of myself, is I took a lot of my emails off my phone.
Oh, yeah.
So my work email, I have to go digging for it on my phone.
Yeah.
It doesn't just, you know what I mean? And so that's not, it's on, my work email is on my other phone. And then I have a phone that has nothing on it. So if I
Yeah.
just really want to go, this is a phone that my children have my number, my family, my close family have it, my close friends have it, and that's it. That's all.
Hmm.
That's it. If I cut off the other phones, I got this one just in case of an emergency. And
Hmm.
I did. This is the work that I'm doing because I had to be able to disconnect from all this stuff.
That's right.
Um, Felicia said, "This is good. When culture is attached to certain things, we think um, that it is norm, and it's not." Hey, Lisa, good morning, sugar. We have to set email boundaries and phone
Hmm.
boundaries too.
And so, Felicia, I want to challenge that. And we'll get to that a little bit in the work here today. Is that when we say we have to set email boundaries and phones too, my question then becomes what keeps you from doing so? What parts come up for you when you think about setting a boundary to do that? And that's not, and you can just hold that question. We will get to that, or hold your answer to that. We will get to that piece. But when we say we just have to do something, if it were that simple, then it would be done. So what we're actually working against is the parts that won't allow it.
Mhm.
That's who we have to get connected with. So let's start with our first exercise. So grab your paper. So on a sheet of paper, I want you to write, and we're going to begin to map out the parts that resist rest. On a sheet of paper, I want you to write the parts of me that resist rest says this, and just do an exhaustive list.
Say that one more time.
The part of me that resists rest says, and fill in the blank. And I want to invite you to free write around that without even centering the answers that come to you. And if you want to throw those in the chat, you can do that as well too. But this is really about you doing this work with yourself. The part of me that resists rest says,
I like it.
and I'm gonna just give you a few seconds to be with the uncensored writing or answers or things that you're hearing. And when you're ready, and when that feels complete for that part, that's sharing everything about why it resists and what it says as it's resisting, I want to invite you to just take a moment to go inside. And when I mean go inside, we're just phasing out external distractions, our external world, and really going inward to listen from those parts that shared, and specifically listen to the part that resists rest. I want to invite you to go inside and see if you can connect with that part of yourself that resists rest. And if it feels safe enough for you, I would invite you to close your eyes just so we can turn off one sensor so we can go in and begin to connect with a different intelligence. Yeah. And I just want to say a quick thing about intelligence. We don't just have this as intelligence, we have brain, heart, and gut intelligence. All three say something different, but they all need to work harmoniously.
Mm.
But a lot of times we only rely on cognitive thinking, but we don't do heart or gut thinking. Gut thinking is your intuition, meaning that it knows what to do with even without the evidence of needing to do it. It just knows what to do. And we bypass our heart intelligence and our gut intelligence because this has been the thing that's been valued going back to what our brother from Ghana mentioned, the output. So I want to invite you to ask the part that resists rest. When you're connected with it, I want to invite you to ask it, what is it afraid would happen if it stopped and rested? What is the part afraid would happen that keeps you from rest? What is that part afraid would happen if you actually started to rest? And I see Faye gave an answer, you're a procrastinator. If you rest, then you'll procrastinate. Okay. What else?
Lisa said, thinking we're going to miss something.
Yeah. If you stop and rest, then you're gonna miss out on everything that's going on and you're gonna be behind. I heard somebody else mention that earlier. If I rest, I'm gonna be behind.
Hmm. I said that, miss out.
Yeah. If I stop and rest, then people might not think that what I'm trying to do, I'm serious about it. Resting is bigger than the benefits, or understanding why you resist rest is bigger than just understanding the benefits of rest. There's something else that's at play. And so remember when I mentioned earlier that for a lot of systemic reasons, rest might not be something that we gravitate towards quickly. It can here's another thing this part might say, it can cost us if we slow down.
Mm.
I gotta keep going because if these people at my job see that I'm taking a break and I'm taking this PTO, then they gonna think that I don't want this work.
That's similar to what Brenda just said. She says, I can't stop and rest because someone or something needs me.
Yeah, someone or something needs me. That's what this part believes.
Mhm. Glowment Studio says, the part of me that resists rest is the one that believes my value is tied to how much I produce.
That's right. So if you rest, then you're wow. If you rest, then you're not valuable.
Mhm. Have no value.
You have no value. That's what this part believes. Or this is what that part is afraid or is concerned about you being seen without having value.
I feel like that just goes back to the trauma of slavery
Yeah. Oh yeah.
because, you know, I just, the movies and all of this like nonstop working, sun
Hmm.
up to sundown. You
Hmm.
don't get to rest. You don't feel any pain. You don't,
Hmm.
like, and it was just so ingrained in us.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like you just don't get to do what we do. Like you have to
Right.
keep working because this is how you're valuable. Otherwise, you can just I can just do what I do
Yeah. Yeah.
and you don't have to be here. So, oh yeah,
Yeah.
Um
Right. Prepare the others because I'm out this office. Right. But no, I want to get back to your point of saying that, this is going back to times of enslavement. So I won't get too much into it. I just want to nerd out really quickly. But then I'm sure that on a surface level, we might understand the impact of epigenetics and what happens to our DNA. Slavery altered our DNA. Epigenetics is real. So even if we're not resting, and you're saying, "Gosh, I don't have any aversion to resting. I love to rest. I love leisure." What you also might be fighting up against is your DNA. And so in IFS, that's what we call unattached burden. It's a burden that didn't even belong to you, but was passed down to you. It's a legacy burden, not unattached. I'm sorry. It's a legacy burden. It's a cultural burden. The legacy of slavery made it so that in our DNA, rest feels like X, Y, and Z. It feels like laziness. It feels like unproductive. It's just bigger than the surface things of, oh, you don't want to rest, you're not serious. It's bigger than that. So really getting in touch and connecting with those parts and hearing what their concerns are is how you get to your rest. Protectors want to know that it feels safe. And the way that they feel safe is to be heard about their concerns. So rest for us is less about just taking these things. It's about being in negotiation with the parts that hold these other experiences as well too. And I really feel like that's what's missing from the conversation when we talk about rest. It's not because we're just ingrained, part of it could be, but it's not that we're just beholden to white supremacy culture in the ways of doing things. We got parts that protect us because it could not rest. They had a job to do. We got to get back into relationship with those parts to find out what they fear if they were to slow down and rest. And so, as you're hearing from that part that's afraid to rest, I want to invite you just to take a moment to write them a one sentence of appreciation for how they've kept you safe. I'm hearing from all of my parts that the reasons why I can't rest is because I'm afraid that I'll be missing out. I'm afraid that I'll be seen as a procrastinator. I'm afraid that I'll be seen as lazy. And I need to really make sure that we're not seen that way, because to not being seen that way helps you take care of yourself. Oh, that's why you won't let me rest, because you're afraid you won't get taken care of. Thank you for the work that you've been doing for me all these years and making sure that we're taken care of. And that might sound like thank them for trying to protect you from unemployment, judgment, being disconnected with others. I might not be able to rest because I fear that if I rest, then I won't be in community. And these parts wanted to be make sure that people are in community with people, but they just don't know how they're impacting the rest of your system. They don't know what the cost is. That's why connection is important. So if I had to leave you with anything, even when we just talk about rest, when we appreciate the work of our protectors, they soften. We might see this part that holds us from rest, and we might be in an adversarial relationship with it. But really, they just want to be, really, what they're asking you is that you don't even understand why I'm here and why I'm doing what I'm doing. Can you just hear me out on why I don't let us rest? Because if you can hear me out, then you might appreciate why I'm doing what I do. So when we appreciate our protectors, they soften back. When they soften, our self energy can come forward. You remember when I said that core part of us that's untouched? That's the part that has compassion, calm, clarity, courage, connectedness. The more I get into relationship with those protectors, the more I can get to my self energy. Because what I might then say to that protector is, God, I understand that. And that part might say to me, well, it's about time. There's someone here that understands me and has some compassion for what I do. And so when we're talking about a reset begins with relationship with ourselves, not trying to control parts of us. And y'all, this is just one of the three things that I prepared for the day. You didn't even get to self-care or emotional clarity. We can stay here for a while. But I want to respect everybody's time. But I also want to leave you with something. I want to leave you with the practice of coming back to yourself. And we do that by inviting and learning how to be in relationship with the parts that don't necessarily feel the best. Everything else to say, think positive, do this, then you'll feel better. The way forward is through, and going through is being with the parts that feel hard. Because once you get more understanding about those parts that we deem as difficult, you'll find out that they've been more of an ally to us than we give them credit for. My overachieving parts, those parts were afraid that if we didn't go out here and get it for ourselves, that we'll never be taken care of, because we already saw one parent walk away. So you got to go out here and get it. So I have a deep appreciation for that part of my system that says that for years, you got to go get it. But now what I can say to that part is that, what if I got a different way to show you how we can get it? Where you don't have to work as hard as you work. Let's sit and talk about that. That's coming home to yourself. You got to invite them in. Even the parts that hurt, even the parts that carry grief, even the parts that are sad, even the parts that feel depressed, even the parts that feel anxious. One thing I will say about me as a therapist, and I don't know every other therapist in the world, but one thing that I will say, and I feel like I recognize early on as I do this work, is that when I do therapy work, it is not from a standpoint of trying to make you feel better. Hear me out.
Okay.
I want to begin to dismantle so we can pick apart the pieces and see what these parts have been trying to have a conversation with you about. So we're going to the hard places. We don't have to go there fast. And we need permission from our system to even get there.
Yeah.
We try to override what we try to override protectors, and they're not going to let up until they feel understood, until they feel like somebody else is here that can take care of them. And so I know that we are at time, like I said, I had two more pieces around self-care and emotional clarity that I would love to come back and offer you all. But I just want to check and see if anybody has any questions about anything that's been shared here today, anything about parts work, anything about internal family systems.
And it's safe. So go ahead and drop those questions in the chat. We also dropped the link if you wanted to come up and actually ask your question. You can do that.
Mhm.
But yeah, drop your question in the comment section. And this is in this, you know what, this type of work, it's so crazy. You think that rest is just, why do we need a therapist to tell us to rest? Because it's so much to unpack.
Mhm.
We're just not resting because we just don't want to rest.
That's right.
We are internally dealing with things that's causing us to, I mean, and we're tired, sleepwalking, sleep talking, can't function,
Yep.
no good output at all.
None.
But we are fighting ourselves to just go sit down and take a nap. Sit down and take a moment for yourself. So that's one of the things. And I say Saturday and Sunday is self-care weekend,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
You take some time for yourself. You take a moment for yourself. Just take some time for you. I don't see any questions, but I am seeing some comments. Rhonda says, I just hate that I've missed out on the previous month session. I enjoyed this so much. Rhonda, I'm so glad you enjoyed this, but
Yeah.
guess what? You only missed one. You only missed one session, and that one session was our vision board, our vision and our prayer board event. So this is our first, just true conversation with the expert, and this is what we're doing. This is where we're bringing, because life by design is truly aligning yourself to who you are becoming,
That's right.
leaving those things behind, learning to set boundaries for yourself, and learning to do things like rest and being in a community that claps for you when you say, I took a nap. I'm going to take a nap, and being around people who are going to encourage you to do just that.
Yeah.
Um,
I see a
Glow says,
question.
go
Yeah.
ahead.
What's the first mental shift someone needs to make to stop surviving and start truly designing their life? That's a great question. First thing that comes to mind for me is self awareness. You can't shift nothing that you're not aware of.
Ooh, ooh, say it again. Wait,
You,
that's a clip.
yeah. You can't shift anything that you're not aware of. So get off autopilot, which is where a lot of us live our lives in our subconsciously, those programs are running our lives. We have to get off of our autopilot and come back into the present moment and be aware of what's happening. Because the moment that we can get into some type of awareness about shifting from surviving to truly designing our lives, the moment we get into awareness, we can lean into what one of my great girlfriends call, and a fellow therapist, she calls the sacred pause.
Hmm.
The moment I become aware that something's no longer working for me, I might not have the answers of how to shift it, but the pause right there changes the trajectory of what happens next. So that's the very first thing.
Oh, wow. Um, Duke says, I would love a session on how to be a caregiver when you're not prepared. Now
Oh,
that's something
wow.
we'll definitely keep that in, because that there's a lot of us, and
Mhm.
this is why this is so important. I'm just gonna just because we are in that age group, we're doing something
Hmm.
different, right? So we've either been parents or aunties or been, growing and going through career changes, climbing up the career ladder. And now we are on that slow down, but we don't really know how to slow down.
Hmm.
We don't even give ourselves a moment to slow down. And we hurt ourselves. Like we tell ourselves, we tell us ourselves that we aren't worthy of slowing down. You have to keep going. You got to keep moving. You got to keep shaking. So I
Yeah.
would definitely, we'll keep that. We'll put that in the arsenal, Keisha, because that may be a special session. I'm not sure if we have one specifically for caregivers, but I'm definitely going to have to add that to a session. We got another question in here. Will the session be saved or we can access it later? Absolutely. This session is saved. You can also make sure that you go to the YouTube channel, go to my YouTube channel and make sure you subscribe. You will also receive if you're on the email, well, you should be on the email list because you're here. So you will receive this replay. You'll receive the link so that you can watch this. You'll also receive your workbook. If you haven't received it, it's also pinned at the top. Y'all, can you just really quickly just get in the comment section and say thank you to Charlie, like for being here, being the expert and telling us that it's okay to rest, that it's okay to reset, that we are fine. We are okay. And the things that we're dealing with is a trauma response. There's some work to be done, but it starts right now by understanding who we are and what we're dealing with. So y'all get in there and just give Charlie some love. In the meantime, Glowment, go ahead and ask that question while everybody's in here just telling Charlie how great she is. Go ahead and drop that question for me, sugar.
And what I want to add to that also is that it's okay if you can't rest,
Mm,
because that's also a point of an invitation point or an entry point to getting some understanding about what's happening within that I can't. So we're not, so I don't want you to walk away feeling that, oh my God, if I can't rest, something is wrong with me. The fact that you're aware that you can't rest means that you're right at the beginning of finding out and working with the parts of yourself that keeps you from doing that. That's
mm.
information. No parts are bad. All parts are welcome, even the ones that feel challenging.
Yeah, this has been so good. I wish we could have, and this may come, this may come, some like in-person sessions for this. This is definitely something that I would like to keep going. And this is why we're doing it for a year, because it's so much to unpack. It's so many things that we're going to be tapping into. Bowman says, what's one practical thing we can do today to start giving ourselves permission to rest without guilt? That's a great question.
One thing that we can do today that allows you to rest without guilt. Okay, so I'm going to approach this in a very different way. That word guilt is really interesting, and that's where my eye keeps coming back to. Rest without guilt, Glowment, I want to invite you to consider or begin to think about, where is that guilt coming from?
Mm,
A lot of times when we talk about, and I've heard this quite often in my sessions with my clients, is about the guilt they feel about taking time of not maybe doing something with their kids, or just having the energy. And I lean towards inviting them to consider whether or not this is guilt that needs to be paid attention to for a real reason, or if this is, here we go, if this is weaponized guilt in order to continue to exploit your labor. Those are two different things. And a lot of times we experience the latter. Guilt is weaponized against us in order for us to continue to produce, in order for a system to continue to extract gifts from us. So the guilt might not even belong to you. The guilt is the tool that's being used to get you to keep going to the point of burnout.
mm,
So when I think of one tool that can keep me from resting, without having guilt, I have to get to the core of where's this guilt coming from. So we can go back to that very question that I asked you at the beginning. What are the messages that you receive around rest?
Real work.
This is the work.
It's real work. It's real work. Brandy says, I truly appreciate you, Charlie. It's always enlightening to get the POV of someone else on the outside looking in. Sometimes we just need to hear someone say it. Give yourself permission to rest and restore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
Because
you.
rest is,
Thank
again,
you.
and you're okay, Janine. Janine says, thank you, Charlie. I'm sorry I was late. It is okay. You will get the replay. You heard the meat of everything. Y'all, this has been so good. Charlie, I just have to tell you again, thank you so much
Thank you
because
for having me.
I, listen, honey, listen, you just, this is a divine situation. It is just good. You're good. I needed this. Like I needed this because I really struggle. I really struggle to rest. So to see that it's so many layers to it, it it's creating a journey for me now. Like I now see that it's just not me. There are layers to this. So you need to
Mm-hmm.
just start peeling back that onion, and
Mm-hmm.
you're going to be okay. You're going to
Yeah.
be okay. I think
Yeah.
I followed my mom's way of doing things. She was a go getter and she never stopped. She was still working when she passed at 73 in 2014. As I said, I did retire, but I did pick up a part time. But that's okay.
Yeah.
You realize that you didn't want to work full time. I think that's honestly understanding
Mm-hmm.
your capacity and setting some boundaries for yourself. Now, I am no therapist, but if you didn't want to work until you were 73, until you all of the things, then
Mm-hmm.
it is great that you said, you know what, I'm going to do a part time just so I can just get out of the house and do a few things.
And to that part time, it might also be a protector saying that we need to do this until I can truly fully lean into resting without having to work. And that's kind of how it works in therapy. Like everybody don't let go of their bad things immediately. There are some. I think about this when it comes to like a alcohol addiction.
Mhm.
So we might have a client that comes into the office that's drinking heavily. It's wrecking their lives. And so we might be doing IFS work with this client. They might not stop drinking, but they might agree through negotiation that instead of this pint of gin, I'm
Mm.
gonna just do a fifth
Or a shot.
or a
Just
shot.
get there.
And so we stay there until it fully feels safe to release that as the way to cope. Parts release their roles, their extreme roles, once they figure out that there's another piece in the system that knows how to take care of the entire system. And they won't do it a moment before because they felt like they needed to do it at some point. And the truth is that they did.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
person that's drinking heavily felt like they needed to do that. I'm not here to judge you drinking. There's
Mm-hmm.
a part here that felt like it needed to do that. So if it needs to take its time, then we're going to let it take its time until we increase that inner safety that it's okay not to, that it's okay to be with what the drinking is protecting, which is typically that hurt, vulnerable part that experienced the injury.
That's some good stuff, Charlie. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Where can we find you on social media?
So you can find me on social media, primarily on TikTok and
Okay.
Instagram, and I want to say also LinkedIn. I'm at Charlie Vet Therapist on all platforms.
Is it CHARLIE?
CHARLIE,
Mm-hmm.
Vet, THAT Therapist. And
Got
that's
it.
me across all platforms. And I also have a newsletter that I can send out to you all. I can see if I can pull that link up right now. And that's one way to stay in touch with me. I don't flood your inboxes when it comes to newsletters. I write when I feel inspired and when I feel like I have something to say. And sometimes, y'all, although I do talk, I don't feel like I have something to say all the time. But when I do, it's go time.
I love it. We'll make sure we send that information out on how to connect. So you all will get that too. If you have that link, you can drop it in the comment section but we'll make sure we get that information out to everyone so you can
Okay.
follow up and follow Charlie.
Yeah.
And if you need some extra help, I don't know if she does online or private or whatever, but hey, you, she's the one for that. Like, so
Yeah.
I just appreciate you for helping us to start to do this work in resting. Y'all make sure that you check out your workbook. There's so many things to unpack in there, but it's slow and go. It's up to you. It's up to you to do the work, and this is just the beginning. So there's a workbook for you. It is pinned to the top. If you haven't grabbed your workbook, print it out. Duke said, "Hey, I printed mine out. It looks so good. It's great." But it asks some question and it gives you some room to write so that you can truly start doing the work of rest and restoring. It is time to rest, and it is okay. It is absolutely okay to rest. I've got a few announcements before we get ready to get out of here. Again, Charlie, I thank you so very much for being here with us for our second session of Life by Design.
You're welcome.
And
And
we,
my website is also my name that you see here is
okay,
charliepleasantlcsw.com, www.charliepleasantlcsw.com. And you can follow me over there as well too.
I'm going to add that in here. And it's Charlie Pleasant LCSW, right?
.com. And then over there, you can read a little bit more about me and the work that I offer as well too, and get
Love it.
connected with you if you have any questions about anything.
I love it. So I've put down her in the comment section. I've also put her website in the comment section. Let me go ahead and show that here. Here is her website. So you can go ahead and get over there and get on her email list so you can stay up on getting the work done. Because we're not going to stop. We are not going to stop working. We are not going to stop
Not
working.
at all.
We're
Not at
not
all.
going to stop that. So y'all have got a few announcements. Just a few announcements before we get out of here, because Saturday and Sunday is our self-care time, and this is self-care. This is taking care of you. This is taking a moment. So thank you all for being here, because I know that you could have been anywhere on a Saturday morning at 10 a.m., but you chose to sign up and you chose to say, I'm going to come and be a part of Life by Design, because I'm going to align my life with who I am becoming. So thank you so much for being here. So real quick, if you have not joined Sugar Circle, this is what it's like. This is what that this is what Sugar Circle, this is what Sugar Circle is like. Charlie, just real quick, say goodbye to everybody, because they may drop you in the the producer may drop you down. So
Yeah. Thank you again, everybody. Tara, I look forward to us sharing space again.
yes,
I look
absolutely, it's
forward to
coming.
that.
It's
Yeah,
it's
it's
coming.
coming. It's coming.
I've
And
got
again,
something.
if y'all have any questions, reach out to me. I'm Charlie. I'm so happy to have been here with you all. And thank you again for this opportunity, this beautiful, beautiful opportunity.
Thank you, Charlie. You take
You're
care,
welcome.
sugar. All right, y'all. So we have let me see. Okay. So we have let me get my announcements real quick, and then but you guys make sure you go and join Charlie in her community. Y'all, this is the work. This is the work that we're doing in Life by Design. We're bringing real experts and we're doing real work, because life is changing for us. It is not what it was. It is changing. And so we're doing some work so we can design our lives, and because we just doing something different. So real quick, join the Sugar Circle. So joining Sugar Circle, y'all, is just like this. We're doing these private conversations, these private chats, but we are extending these types of conversations. Sugar Circle is only $49 for the entire year, and you get a chance to jump in and extend these conversations. You also get exclusives behind the scenes and some things that just put you in proximity to what's happening right now. So those of you who got in on the inaugural special, then hey, you got in. But now Sugar Circle is only $49 for the entire year, so make sure you jump in. You can join Sugar Circle right there at heysugar.com. It is scrolling across right there, so go ahead and jump in. Um, I do want you to join the next Life by Design session. Okay, I want you to join the next Life by Design session. If this was good to you, if this was great for you, then I want you to make sure that you join us on the fourth Saturday of next month. I think that date is March 28th. And join us for another session. We'll put out, I try to keep it, I try to keep y'all intrigued and excited and all that, but we're going to bring another expert. We're going to do some more work. We're going to have an added set of work to do in your workbook. We're bringing everything you need to just curate the new you. We we look, we're becoming. We are aligning our lives to who we are becoming. And we're giving you permission to do it and the community to be congratulated for changing. Okay. Um, there are a couple of ways that if you have a small business or you want to um, share who you are or you want to support Life by Design, you can support Life by Design work by being a sponsor. There's several sponsor opportunities, partnerships that you can be a part of. So you may have a sponsorship and your information will be kind of at this corner, and at the end we'll talk about you and say this, whoever this was a sponsor of Life by Design, we thank you, and you'll be a part of that, and you'll go out to the email list, and we'll definitely have you out in our social media marketing to share that you are the sponsor. Sponsorship starts at $99 and go up to $499 if you want to do that. If you enjoyed this, I want you to do something for me. I want you to get in the group and I want you to tell people. I want you to tell everybody and I want you to share it on your social media page as well. I want you to share that this is what I did today. And you can listen, if you don't want to just do a post, you can do a story. If you're on Instagram or um, or Facebook, you can do a story. If you see, and we'll probably have something in my stories or whatever, you can also share my story or share your post and say, this is what I did. This is how I spent my Saturday morning. This is how I spent my Saturday morning. And it was absolutely amazing. And I need you to hashtag Life by Design. Hashtag it. If you make a post, hashtag Life by Design on any platform. On any platform. But please share the word. If this helped you, share it so someone else can be helped as well. Finally, y'all, listen, we are traveling, and this is something that we do that is absolutely amazing. You can travel with me. We are going to Dubai, Maldives in September, and we're doing Dubai. We're doing Dubai, and then we're moving over to the Maldives. So it's a full. We're going to do all the things in Dubai, and we're going to leave Dubai, and we are going to rest, and we're giving everybody permission to do so. You still have time to do that. You still have time to connect with us. You still have time to say yes to traveling, to doing something for you. It is completely curated. I know that there are a couple of people on here that have traveled with me to Dubai before. Um, we had to step it up a notch, y'all. Don't get mad at me. We just had to step it up just a notch. We're gonna add a little of the Maldives on the back, but it is going to be fun and exciting. If you're interested in doing some travel with us, go ahead and go to heysugar.com/travel. Everything is right there for you, and we are super excited and we cannot wait. We're leaving in September. Right now, you can get in on the it's not early bird pricing, just the regular pricing, but on March 31, the price increases. And then on April 31, the price increases and then it shuts down because the final is June 30th. We won't be able to take anyone else. So no, I'm sorry, June 1. June 1. So you have now that you can get in there and come and enjoy us. So I'm super excited about all the things that we have going on. Um, yeah, I'm glad y'all are here. Thank y'all for being here at Life by Design. Tell somebody, post about us, and share this information with someone. All right. I hope to see y'all inside the Sugar Circle. If you haven't joined, go ahead and join the Sugar Circle. If you haven't partnered with us, consider partnering with us. And if you haven't traveled with us yet, then go ahead and say yes. It's time to get your passports stamped with Tara. Okay. I love y'all. Have an amazing day, sugars. And don't forget to rest and get outside. Bye bye.